All right, I'm going to express myself in the Sci-Fi Express lane. Today, I'm going to express myself about story similarities in the Matrix story trilogy, Terminator, all that controversy because we keep seeing this urban legend, this story about I can't remember her name, a black writer named Sylvia, who is hailed as the mother of the Matrix. And I was talking to a friend of mine who asked me about what I thought about that, and it's not that complicated, really. I just broke it down talking about story similarities, right? And how do I deal with story similarities, and how much do you have, and stories that I get influenced by, right? Because I'm influenced and inspired to write by existing stories that I've seen throughout my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a plagiarizer. I'm not copying. I'm not stealing. You know what I'm saying? I am inspired by, influenced by. So what does that mean, or how do I see it, right? So with the Matrix, she was said to have written a story, a script, and a book series that got its hands into the producers of The Matrix, right? And they wrote The Matrix and Terminator, which, if you think about Terminator, it's sort of a precursor to the world of, it could be a precursor to the world of The Matrix, where robots not only become the guardians of humans, because in iRobot, they say, oh, humans are too dangerous for to be governed themselves, so robots now got to look after them. That's what Vicky thought. Skynet took a step further and said, you know what, humans are a real problem. Let's eliminate them off the planet. And then the Matrix took it a step further and said, after they're gone, damn it, we need them, so let's run our machines off of them. I guess they couldn't be solar-powered robots, or they're not that AI that they don't need. They still need us. They wasn't going to run off electric eels or fish or any other life form. They had to cocoon us, give us birth, and create a Matrix Tron type world for our brains to stay active, because God forbid our brains weren't active, we would not grow and live. So there's a lot of hypothesis and all that. Anyway, the mother of the Matrix is given credit for creating a story of Neo that influenced the movie The Matrix. And maybe this Neo, because I've never read her story, maybe this Neo character existed in a pre-Matrix world where it was more like Terminator, and her story includes the destruction of human civilization, which is all the Matrix backstory, and Matrix hasn't gotten to that yet. My feeling is, people get stories stolen all of the time, and as a writer, I battle ready my stories. And I'm not saying that if something of mine does get stolen, I'm not going to be upset. I'm definitely going to be upset. But I'll say this. I write my stories so me that if they steal it, I'm going to be able to tell you, because it's got me all over it. And you'll be able to see my writing and story styles in other stories that I have of mine. Not to mention, if the story is good, my version of the story is still going to be out there and doing well. And I say that because I think the bigger factor is that Sylvia, the mother of the Matrix, has not really made success of her story. I don't know who wouldn't buy her book. You understand what I'm saying? If she was to say, yo, this was the original story, blah, 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 I'm putting it out. What I think happened is, first of all, Matrix is an extreme conspiracy theory. Okay, we living in a conspiracy theory world right now, right? Where we have flat earthers believing that the world powers can lie to us about the shape of the earth, and therefore they can lie about anything, right? So that's a far-reaching conspiracy theory. Don't get wrong, that's really out there. The United Nations uses the flat earth design as their logo. Ha ha! That's why we know the earth is flat. Denying all physical science facts and evidence, they still believe that the earth is flat because the government can lie to us and the world powers can lie to us. That's the core of the flat earthers. The Matrix conspiracy is even deeper than that. The Matrix's conspiracy is making us believe that our brains are living in a false reality, and that all of what we see, touch, and feel and smell are controlled, and we're in an alternate. So, and that can happen through just us being asleep. We use a lot of these terminologies. Now we have woke. My generation, we used to have sleep. So I progressed and said, I'm not asleep, I'm woke. So I know I can see where that came from that. But to go back to us calling ourselves sleep, we used to say we're going to try to wake the brother up. He needs to get hip to what's going on, in the world. You don't really realize it, my man. And I used to be waking people up. And part of waking them up was, recognizing that they was asleep and they was living in a false reality. So I could see the mother of the Matrix taking that energy and making it a science fiction story. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we sleep, we this and this and that. So understand that is a real deep thing to do. So now for me, I'm saying this because I'm getting ready to go see the Matrix on the 22nd of December, and I've just been watching like the other Matrices as if I need to see them again, and I did pick up on some details that I have forgotten, but I hadn't seen them so many times. It's ridiculous. But the flaws that I have, or the things that I would change, right, if I was to write the Matrix, and I'm actually writing something similar, not really similar in story, but similar in universe to the Matrix. But my thing is, if my mind goes cerebral and the world is connected minds, right? And we have this connected mind world called the Matrix that's not real, then I'm going to do more than just fly around like Superman. And I'm assuming that the robots' minds will create other things in reaction to the things that I'm doing. Like if I'm flying, I think they'll be able to fly too, eventually, right? They'll bounce back off each other. So you're going to have to out-imaginate the robots, which I don't think is that big of a deal. But as a writer, I would include Godzillas. I would include like zombie hordes, and maybe some of that was in the Matrix, right? But just for the sake of cinematic beauty, I would go full out. I'm thinking of Charles Xavier fighting Apocalypse in his mind. I'm thinking of one of my favorite movies, Sucker Punch. How they fought a dragon and all of that. I'm just thinking all of those things are on the table because you're dealing with a false reality. And that false reality is your imagination. And my imagination is out of control. You understand? So I would put some of that in there, in terms of fighting skills and kung fu and all that that's beautiful in the Matrix. I'm going beyond that, right? I'm going beyond that in my imagination. And that's why I think that, one of the things that I could have, in terms of my Matrix. And there was a flaw in the movie that I kind of don't remember. I'll probably do another blog about it if I remember it, or if it's that big of a deal. It's probably not big of a deal because I forgot about it. But I was watching it with my son, and he was seeing it for the first time since he's been old enough to remember. So I was telling him, I said, wait, there you go. That's the flaw right there. I can't really remember what it was, but the Matrix world is not flawless, right? It is a beautiful analogy. It's not flawless, and there's a couple of flaws in there. That's fine. It makes it human. I love it. I don't need nothing to be perfect for me to love and enjoy. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out to you. There's things that, who knows what her story looks like, that could have been changed, that could have given them ownership. Maybe they didn't like her screenplay the way it was, and it was inspired to write a Matrix type world outside of hers, and that's what became the Matrix. Or they just couldn't understand hers, and it wasn't entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And they just translated it themselves into a more digestible story. And that's really what some people are able to do. When we look at The Harder They Fall, these guys have real stories, and they put it together in a digestible formula that I like better than Posse or Django, you know what I'm saying, which are other, Wild West stories. But, you take these real pieces that are human figures and you put a story around them. And, who knows what her story was like? Who knows what the pacing was? Who knows if it had, the Matrix dodging of the bullets and him stopping bullets with his hands? All of those things that make the Matrix what it is and what we like about it are things that you need to know. Is that part of what she created? You know what I'm saying? And if they aren't, then you got to give them credit for remixing it, because a remix is not always copyright infringement. We come from the sampling. What's the number one popular timeless hip hop song? It takes two to make a thing go right. That's not original. All right. Rod Bass sampled, and then he used it as his own beat. When sampling first started in the 80s, man, people were dissing hip-hop because it relied too much on sampling. So who knows how much they created originally if they sampled and remixed her story. That could be, but in reality, that ain't. It's a thin line. You want to call it stealing, you could call it stealing, but you're not going to win it in court. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to these images on internet, you alter it a little bit. It's not yours. It's not theirs anymore. You know what I'm saying? You stretch it, you pull it to the side, whatever. It's not theirs anymore. Somebody, lawyer was telling me to do that, if I ever do those images or whatever. Same thing with beats. Take a beat, somebody owns that beat, you change the octave, you throw in another beat, you slow it down. It's really hard, it's a thin line. So the same thing with a story. You change the lead from female to male, ethnicity to this to that. There's a lot of little things that you could change. You change the ending, the beginning, the setting, whether it's in the West, the past, the future. All that, you know what I'm saying? Dang, I'm out of, where's mine? Okay, there I am. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. I've expressed myself on this. I can't remember what the challenge was with the Matrix, but if I think of it and it's important, I'll do a blog about it. All right, until next time, peace.